Right. So we have discussed about the categories of a data type, right? I told you that it's all about mutable and immutable, and certain data type belongs to mutable and certain data type. I don't want it to certain. So list and dictionary belongs to mutable category, and the string and list and dictionary belongs to mutable category. String, tuple, and numbers belongs to immutable category. And I've given you example how does the mutable immutable works while you do the modification. Okay, now we're going to see about how the data types are represented. You know that in Python, right, we don't have a concept of data type declaration. Instead, we're going to represent a data. Everybody knows, right? So that is what we're going to see how data can be represented in Python. Okay, say if it is a string, data can be declared with a double quotes. Let me put type of data. Type of data means a function which is going to tell you what type of data it is. Okay, it belongs to string. So anything that gets enclosed by the double quote is string, or anything that get enclosed by a single quote is also called as a string, and anything that get enclosed by the single quote but blanketed with this parenthesis is also string representation. Okay, so anything that get represented with a parenthesis but also with double quote, either a single quote, double quote. If it is enclosed by the parenthesis, that is also called as string. So string is the only data type which has different range of representing a data. At times you could have seen this kind of a stuff. Data is equal to India is my country. Okay, so now print type of data. So right, and even if the strings are represented with a triple quote, that also called as string. So basically in Python, when a data get represented by a triple quote, that is in general we call it as multi-line character, or that can also be called as a document string. Why? Because see, when I want to have something on the top of that, okay, I can put it in the triple quotes. So triple quotes can also be called as a document string, which going to help us in writing a command lines. What do you do? I write like this, right? Following line is representation of string. So what happened? You can put a hash and you can write a command line for that, but hash doesn't look so good, right? So usually what happens is that people use these triple quotes to indicate you the command line. So following line is a representation of string, which can also be called as multi-line character. Okay, this is how it works. So either you can use the triple quotes as a part of a document string or a command line section, or triple quotes can even be used as a string. But if you want to know why the specific triple quotes, why not the double quote, right? The triple quote means so now you would have understood in all the above statement that I have at line number 1 to 17 is kind of a single line representation, at least till line number 10. But line number 16, I just put triple quotes. Triple quote means either you can accommodate one line or you can have more than one line. Okay. So triple quote is also a string representation, but triple quote is mainly used when we know that when you try to have more than one line of a statement. So string is one data where it has wide range of representation. Okay. Anyway, we're gonna see this detail in string topic. Right. Next, we'll heads up into a list representation. List is anything that get represented by square braces. Okay. When I run, look at that. It says list. Okay. When I say list, it's a sequence of data. That's it. So it is not a sequence of homogeneous data. That means you can have the combination of numbers and character also. You can have the combination. That's absolutely fine. Okay. And just because you're declaring doesn't mean that you should have always one more than one data. You can still have only one data, and that also get categorized as a list one. Look at that. You have only one data, but that also called as list only. That's the beauty of list. So list is a sequential data type, list and tuple. In fact, list belongs to mutable category. You can have same type of data, or you can have the combination of data as well. Okay. And even without a data, it is called as list only. Okay, that is the beauty. Now come back to the other sequential data type, which you call it as tuple. Okay, so variable is equal to parenthesis. So anything that get enclosed by the parenthesis to accommodate more than one data is what we call it as tuple. Same thing, it is not a homogeneous. You can have the combination of character and numbers. Look at this tuple. Now only thing is that look at line number 29 and 32. Even if you have a data or if you have one data, list is gonna remain the list. But unfortunately, if you have only one data in tuple, your Python will understand that as a string. Look at that, because we already discussed at line number 7 and 10. String can also be enclosed by the parenthesis. So while you declaring a tuple, you need to put an extra effort, an extra caution. Okay. Why? Because when you have only one data as a part of a tuple, you need to make sure that you keep comma. It is an indication that it is not a single data, it is a sequential data. Now you can see this is represented by tuple. It is displaying as tuple. That's a tuple data type. Okay, tuple and list are called as sequential data type because we try to have more than one data over here. Tuple is slower. I mean, tuple is very faster in execution than that of a list. We're gonna see that in detail later. But on a heads up, I'm giving maybe few people may come across these the points in interviews. Okay, now last but not least, the dictionary. So dictionary is one thing that get represented differently by curly braces. Okay, look at that. It is called dictionary. Okay, just because you put the curly brace, you cannot keep the data as it is. Look at that. Dhoni, 33. So when you run, output is set, not a dictionary. So basically you can store a data, but you need to be very specific when you want to have a dictionary of data. What you're supposed to do is that keep the data whatever you want as a part of a dictionary, but make sure that each every data get accommodated by one key for representation. Name colon age colon 33. Okay, when you run, it says it is of dictionary data type. So dictionary is what we call it as key value pair. Instead of index, dictionary gets their data stored in the form of key always. Okay, that's the only difference. Even though it is a mutable like that of the list, but the way we retrieve data is not by means of their index. There is no indexing in dictionary, which you're gonna see detail in dictionary topic. But you need to understand that no indexing. Okay, you're gonna get everything in the form of key, and this is how you represent a dictionary. Okay, these are the ways you represent the data in Python. Okay, and each and every topic we're gonna see in detail. This is how data are represented in Python. Okay, thanks people.